Derby hooves or ditsy do. If you I know a mare, she knows me too. The stunning derby hooves or ditsy do. If you've got a note, she'll send it, but don't you be mad when it's late by a couple minutes. No pony's perfect. Trot with me through the autumn leaves and keep close to stay warm. Soon you'll see how much you mean to me, feelings I've never felt before. Leaves go bright and yellow, like a hair and I stay mellow. There's something special about that mare. I'd be a happy fellow if I could just say hello, and to be brave, just don't be scared. Trot with me through the autumn leaves and keep close to stay warm. Soon you'll see how much you mean to me, feelings I've never felt before. When I see her with her filly, I know that I look silly. I can't stop grinning ear to ear. And when the air gets chilly, the cuteness nearly kills me. That mare deserves another of his year. So trot with me through the autumn leaves and keep close to stay warm. Soon you'll see how much you mean to me, feelings I've never felt before. Feelings I've never felt before. I know a mare whose mind is free. She's something special, at least to me. They'll say what they want and still be mean. What's next for you? That's to be seen.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another Winchester Wednesdays. I am your host, Winchester 572, and we are back with yet another wonderful reading night. Yes. So, it should be a fun time. We've got lots of fun and interesting people all lined up for your entertainment this evening. So, I'm just getting the stuff prepped here to get everyone in here. Excuse me. And yes, let me just see if we have everyone. I think we do, because I don't have one made for them yet. So I will make that on the fly. So without further ado, let me introduce you all to the Cole. Hello, Cole.
Hello. Wait, Coldust is here?
That'd be
No,
fun.
not the coal, the call.
Oh,
Oh, sorry, my Americanisms are playing up again.
it was funny. the stream could hear you for once, but I couldn't because I muted you on my console because y'all started talking.
Oh, well done.
Yes. But we have a wonderfully full call tonight. And yes, so starting off, we have my lovely co-host, Crazy Matt's Captain.
I have a kitty cat next to me.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Next up, we have our wonderful fanfic editor, Double R Forest. That was not needed.
Gross.
And
gross as
next up, we have our wonderful stream secretary, Razzle.
What the hell did I get myself involved in?
A lot of things, apparently.
don't act like you didn't want this in the first place.
And next up, we have our wonderful Pinkie Pie, Lycan.
My friend Medina was actually a bit worried about me because I had like sniffles and cold and stuff like that, and asked me to get a COVID test. But I said, "Look, it's fine. It's not COVID. It's just a funky cold Medina."
Funky Cole Medina.
And next up, we have our wonderful, most of the main six talent, Sora.
Please do not bully me tonight. I will do my best.
Okay,
You
Obama.
know what they say, friendship is insults. And
Stop
last but
listening.
certainly not least, we have joining us a very special guest, Hey Ocean. Oh, I mean Ocean Breeze.
Hey, what's up? You know, I'm gonna start a band now, and I am gonna call it Hey Ocean, but I'm gonna leave off the exclamation point.
I think there might be some copyright problems there, but sure.
They have an exclamation point.
I'm just think, there we go.
I still think there'll be legal trouble.
It's
Maybe.
fine. Just call it a
Fine.
parody.
You know what? Then I'll change it to High Ocean.
That'll work.
Wait, there's
Does that mean
weed
your
involved
fans
now?
will just
Okay.
wave?
Does
No, it
that
means
mean
there's
you're
weed
going to
involved.
smoke a lot of weed all the time?
Mm.
Yes.
Well, you better move
you
west.
said that like she
then.
wasn't doing that before.
She's on the wrong end of the state. But yes.
I have ways of getting that, you know. So
Well,
I just
yes.
finished my
You
drink
also have a
and the
place to
stream hasn't
live
even
if you went
started.
there. So yes. But no, we are all here for a wonderful reading night. We managed to get through. It's Razzle, it's good to hear that you've recovered from your zombie attack last week.
It happens.
Yeah, it's far too common on this stream, unfortunately.
Don't worry, it'll just come back just like any of the Resident Evil games. Raz will just be the big enemy that we have to fight at the end.
I don't know. Razzle's too good at fighting.
Oh, well then I think we're screwed.
Yeah, because we'll just never see her, and she'll just come in and fucking stab us and then run away, and then we'll never be able to hit back.
I knew it. This wasn't
Okay.
a PG podcast, Winchester.
Okay, there's a difference between me and my D&D character.
Well, I said Razzle specifically. I didn't say.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we
You're
need
saying you're not
dramatic
quick
music
enough to come in,
now,
stab
like,
us, and
dun,
leave?
dun.
I'm gonna be like 1,000 times better now because my food just arrived.
Yay!
Sauce is
Was it
good.
tacos?
So, yes. Ugh. But yeah, so I suppose without further ado. Oh, by the way, if anybody is in the eastern Nebraska, Omaha area, you should go to the NebCon concert thing that's going on this weekend. It'll be fun. Yes.
Without any further ado, here's some more ado to further.
Gotcha.
I do.
Yes.
Wait, is this the
But-
wedding?
But now actually moving on with the reading. Starting off our wonderful thing, introductions. Your narrator for the night will be me, Winchester. Pinkie Pie, and, well, Pinkie Pie will be played by Lycan. Niles Nicholas will be played by
Niles
Lycan the
Nigel.
Wizard.
Nigelus.
Nigelus. Got it. Don't know how much that's going to come up, but we'll see. Twilight Sparkle will be played by CMC. Spike will be played by Double R. Fluttershy will be played by Ocean Breeze. Rainbow Dash and Applejack will be played by Sora, and Rarity will be played by Razzle. It's a dangerous business. Going Out Your Door by Jetfire 2012. Chapter 11.
Check.
Pinkie Pie exclaimed as she took her mouth off her priestess. She had trapped the Black King in the left section of its own half. Twilight Sparkle lowered her head and picked up her king with her mouth, moving it one square over. Pinkie used her hooves to move her remaining knight into position.
Check.
Twilight used her black palace to take the pink earth pony's knight. It also set the black castle-shaped piece in just the right spot. Pinkie did not have another piece she could move into immediate check. She chose to move her one remaining pawn forward a space and wait for Twilight's next move. Twilight moved her own black priestess diagonally across.
Check and mate.
Pinkie blinked, looking across the board at her own king. Sure enough, she had backed it into a corner, and now it could not move out of range of Twilight's palace or priestess. With a grin, she knocked it over.
Oh, wow, Twilight. I didn't see that coming at all. It was so sneaky and super clever.
Don't worry, Pinkie. You're getting a lot better. Took a lot more work on my part to beat you this time.
It had been her own idea to teach Pinkie Pie to play chess. 3 days after taking ill, she noticed that strenuous physical activity began to exacerbate her condition. On top of doing any kind of magic, she had sensibly decided to take it easy. But this had proven to be difficult with Pinkie Pie taking charge of her sickbed entertainment. The pink earth pony had enough energy for a dozen Pegasi, and when confined to the library, she tended to literally bounce off the walls. To rectify this, Twilight had begun to teach her the many games she had learned over the years. She had already taught her several new card games. Pinkie had an impressive poker face and could bluff as well as any pony. They had started on chess yesterday, and again Twilight had been surprised. For all her impulsiveness, Pinkie was a good player. She was very aggressive, and it had gotten her into trouble at the beginning. Now, however, she was tempering her tendency to attack with more clever coordination of her pieces, surprising Twilight several times over the course of the game.
Can we play again?
I don't know, Pinkie. It's getting late, and this game took a long time.
She looked up at the nearby window. The sun was setting, streaking the sky with orange. Spike, sitting nearby, spoke up.
Twilight, I think you should go to bed.
Spike, I'm feeling fine. When I start feeling bad, then I'll go to bed. For now, I want to stay up.
Spike trailed off. He looked at Twilight's head. The top half of her horn was completely black, with a long, thin streak of darkness running all the way to its base. She could not even begin to do magic now without excruciating pain. She also felt pain if she ran too hard or jumped too high. She could not even escape the pain by avoiding magic, because the horn rot would trigger her magical circuit at random intervals, causing her to fall to the floor screaming in agony. There was no way to tell when she would begin to suffer, and her sleep had been troubled. The purple dragon could see the bags under her eyes, hear the exhaustion in her voice, despite her cheerfulness.
I at least want to stay up until Fluttershy gets back. I have to be awake to take her medicine, right?
I guess.
Fluttershy and Zecora had been working together for the past week to devise new pain relievers, combining the butter yellow Pegasus's knowledge knowledge of body pain and its treatments, with the zebra shaman's skill at concocting complex brews.
Don't you worry your spiky little head, Spiky. Twilight's going to be just fine with a little more wake time. And that's plenty of time for one of my games.
One of your games?
Uh-huh. It's called Rainbow Spy. Dash and I came up with it.
How do you play?
Oh, it's easy.
Pinkie Pie sat back on her haunches, raised a front hoof, and swirled it around.
I spy with my pinky eye something colored purple and white.
Purple and white?
She put her hoof to her chin. What was nearby that was purple and white? She looked around the library. They were sitting on some cushions near the stairs leading up to her room, the tall shelves carved into the walls filled with books of all shapes and sizes. A few of them seemed to be dark purple, but none had white trim that she could discern.
Okay, Pinky, what is it?
It's you, silly. In Rainbow Spy, you can spot multicolored things, but you can also spot things that are colors which are really mixes of other colors. Your lavender, which is a mix of purple and white.
Oh, okay then. I spy with my spiky eye something every color.
Every color?
Pinkie furrowed her brow in concentration and looked around the room. What was every color? Rainbow Dash usually tried this trick, but it was easy to beat her, because she was always talking about either her mane or her tail. But Dash was gone, on a spectacular, amazing, colossal adventure, she told herself. There was nothing obvious to fit Spike's cue.
What is it, Spike?
Spike smiled.
It's the chess pieces. The black ones, anyway. Black is every color brought together, right?
Pinkie grinned hugely.
Good work, Spiky.
Let me try.
Twilight racked her brain hard, trying to recall all the colors and combination of colors she knew. She'd taken a few art classes as a fool, but that was so long ago. She did know basic light theory, Fig Newton's theory of color.
Color is a property of visual perception actualized by the reaction of cone cells in the retina of the eye to various wavelengths of
Twilight,
light
are you
generated
going to
by...
be-
Huh?
She blinked. She had been thinking too hard again.
Sorry. Okay. I spy with my little eye.
Your Twilight eye.
I spy with my twilight eye something that's colored blue and yellow.
Blue and yellow. Those make green, right?
Yep. So let's see what's green. Is it Spike?
No.
Is it that book over there?
No.
Is it that book over there?
Nope.
How about that book over there?
That book over
Nope.
there.
The lavender unicorn was feeling very smug.
Okay, Twilight. What is it?
It's your cushion, Pinky.
Twilight said with a laugh, pointing her hoof down below the pink earth pony. Sure enough, it was striped blue and yellow.
You never said we had to name blended color objects, did you?
No. That was a good one, Twilight.
I guess it was.
She laughed. This was fun. A white spark popped off the tip of her horn. All the books in the library rattled. A few of them flew off their shelves onto the ground. Twilight's front hoofs flew to her horn as her head was racked with agonizing pain. She then fell on her back, writhing back and forth, screaming. Spike dashed to her side.
Oh my gosh! It's okay, Twilight. It's gonna be okay.
It hurts! It hurts!
The pain was excruciating. Her eyes began to water.
Pinky, when did Fluttershy say she was coming back?
The pink earth pony seemed frozen in place.
Pinky!
Oh, I don't know. She said she wouldn't be long.
Ah!
Spike brushed a clawed hand across Twilight's forehead, avoiding her clutching hooves. Her temperature, which had been higher than normal all day, was rising sharply now, as it tended to do during these fits.
I.
He trailed off, on the verge of tears himself. The little dragon felt completely helpless. He didn't know what to do. Twilight's eyes were shut more and more tightly, the pain in her head almost blinding. She could feel her horn dying, bit by agonizing bit. Suddenly her mind was flooded with a rush of energy. Her eyes snapped open. They were blazing white, clouded over with a glowing haze.
She's about to do it again.
The pink earth pony stretched herself like a rubber band across the library, instantly reaching the windowsill where a pad and pencil lay. Another stretch took her back to Twilight's side, where she set the pad down and took up the pencil in her mouth.
No! No more! It hurts her when you do this!
Twilight's fits of pain were often accompanied by flares of magic. It was at night, however, and another symptom manifested. It had been the third day of her illness when the lavender unicorn, in the midst of a pain spell, began to scream out words. She had yelled about a nightmare and endless night. Pinkie Pie, Fluttershy had immediately thought of Nightmare Moon when they consulted Zecora. She had told him that the wild outbursts of magic the horn rot was causing made Twilight's mind susceptible to impressions from other points in space and time. Her first outburst was clearly a look back into the past. Zecora had suggested they keep a notepad handy to record what Twilight said she saw, because it was just as likely that she would have visions of the future as well. The Lavender Unicorn had been very upset at this, berating her friends for believing in something as ridiculous as prophecy, but her magical outbursts in the night were unfailingly accompanied by these glowing eyes, and screams about what she was seeing always followed. The fourth night, while she had been sleeping, she had woken Spike up, yelling about dragons. For the past 3 nights, her eyes had brimmed with tears. She had screamed about the red eyes burning in the dark.
But Spike, I'm not trying to hurt her.
Well, you are! Don't ask her questions, it makes the pain worse! I know it does!
Twilight screamed again. Tears leaked from the corners of her eyes. Spike knelt down and tried to cradle her head. Her skin was burning. Pinkie Pie gripped the pencil with her teeth.
I told you no!
Smoke billowed from his nostrils. He was crying now.
Spike, Zecora said it didn't make her any worse.
I don't care! I won't let you hurt her!
A tongue of green flame burst out of the little purple dragon's mouth.
What is going on here?
Pinkie Pie and Spike snapped their heads around. Fluttershy stood in the open door of the library, a burlap saddlebag buckled around her flanks. Her turquoise eyes blazed with quiet fury as she caught her friend's attention. She amplified the anger in her gaze. Her stare froze Pinkie and Spike in place. All thoughts of continuing their argument vanishing. She held them captive for another few seconds. When Twilight screamed again, she blinked, and the spell was broken. The butter yellow Pegasus flapped her wings and fluttered to the lavender unicorn's side, her light pink mane and tail pooling on the floor as she sat by Twilight's head, putting her hooves around her.
Twilight, I need you to move your hooves. I have something here to rub on your horn that should make it feel better.
Twilight Sparkle began to comply, but an arc of wild, stabbing pain sprang from her horn and raced all the way down her spine. She arched her back and screamed again. Then she spoke.
Sparks and splinters, trees and tines. Peril is paused but not ended. Be wary. Learn well.
Pinkie Pie quickly jotted the words down on the notepad. Fluttershy glanced over at her and Spike.
Spike, Pinkie, could you please pull Twilight's hooves off her horn?
The little dragon and the pink earth pony moved to either side of Twilight's head, taking one hoof in each in both front limbs. They pulled and slowly pried Twilight's front legs away, reaching back into her saddlebag. Fluttershy pulled out something wrapped in wax paper. It looked like a stick of butter, pale and tinted fairly faintly blue. Squishing her front hoof into it, Fluttershy dabbed some on Twilight's horn. Then, with both of her hooves, she began to rub the stuff in. Soon, the lavender unicorn's horn was slick with the ointment. Over the next few minutes, her screaming died down, until it was replaced by heavy breathing. Twilight's body was damp with sweat. Her skin was still burning. Her eyes slowly crawled open. They were once more their normal purple.
Fluttershy?
I'm here, Twilight. We're all here.
Pinkie Pie and Spike moved closer, both of them smiling weakly at her.
I'm sorry.
It's not your fault. I think it's time you went to bed. You'll feel better in the morning after a good night's sleep.
Twilight's head drifted off to the side.
I guess you're right.
Pinkie, Spike, could you both please try to clean up the library a little? I'm going to put her to bed.
Can you manage her all right?
The butter yellow Pegasus nodded.
Don't worry, Spike. We'll be fine.
Sitting back on her haunches, Fluttershy reached her front legs under Twilight Sparkle and flapped her wings. She lifted Twilight slowly off the ground. Fortunately, Twilight wasn't terribly heavy, and Fluttershy was not as weak a flyer as she used to be. Flapping her wings in strong, even beats, she hovered up the stairs and passed through the doorway.
Don't worry, Twilight. Everything will be all right.
She reached the door to Twilight's room and pushed it open with her head. The sun had set, and the deepening dark of the night sky stars were beginning to twinkle. Fluttershy set Twilight gently on her hooves beside her bed. The lavender unicorn shakily pulled back the covers and climbed in, drawing the sheets and blanket up around her.
Thank you.
Fluttershy reached back into her saddlebag and pulled out a sprig of leaves.
Eat these. They should help bring your fever down, and they'll also help you sleep.
Twilight silently took the branch between her hooves and chewed on it, stripping the leaves and chomping them down. Fluttershy plucked up the empty branch with her mouth. She nuzzled Twilight gently on the cheek and then turned to leave.
Good night, Twilight.
Wait,
Fluttershy stopped. Turning around, she saw Twilight facing her. Tears were welling up in her eyes.
Fluttershy, could you stay with me for a while, please?
Fluttershy smiled softly and moved closer.
Of course I will.
I'm so scared, Fluttershy.
Twilight rolled over, turning away from Fluttershy. Tears flowed down her cheeks.
I want to believe that Rainbow Dash and Applejack Rarity will get the benevolent, tongue work. I want to believe that Rainbow Dash and Applejack and Rarity will get the Beneviolet in time. I do. They're my friends, and I should trust them. But
She began to sob.
I understand.
Sitting back on her haunches, she stroked Twilight's midnight purple mane.
I know you must be so frightened.
I am. I don't want to die, Fluttershy. I don't want to die.
Twilight lay on her back and cried. Fluttershy said nothing in speech. She began to hum softly, wafting up the melody of one of her favorite lullabies. Then she started to sing. The sound died in her throat after a few notes. The song she had begun to sing was too cheery, too light for the present circumstances. She didn't wish to make Twilight sadder, But she knew in her heart that a song too happy right now would be worse than a funeral dirge. The butter yellow Pegasus racked her mind for something more appropriate. In a few moments, words flooded her consciousness. A song from the depths of her childhood. The song she had heard once at a time when she, too, had felt hopeless. It was not a song her parents taught her. Summoning summoning lower notes, she slowly stroked Twilight's forehead and began to softly sing.
When sunset's embers fade away and darkness shrouds the land, your mind may fill with nameless fears you do not understand. Though I would fain protect your sleep, I cannot breach your head. But twinkling friends beyond my strength shall aid you in my stead. I cannot take your fears from you. I cannot watch your dreams. But all the stars that shine above shall guard you with their gleam. What are the stars, perhaps you ask? The answer is a tale told many ways by many folk in forest, glen, and dale. The ponies say the stars are Luna's tears from long ago. The dear folks say they are the souls of those we used to know. The camels say stars are the suns that burn in empty space. The bison say they are the light shone from the great one's face. Whatever species speaks the truth, on this they all agree. The stars stand watch into the night and light the galaxy. So in your hour of fearfulness, when you feel most alone, know that the stars are with you, and they shall guide you home. And I am with you too. They love you. I love you. So do not be afraid. Sleep now, dream now.
Fluttershy's voice faded into quiet. Twilight was breathing gently, her eyes were closed. The butter yellow Pegasus leaned in close. She was asleep. Drawing up her face, Fluttershy gently kissed the tears off her cheeks.
Sweet dreams, Twilight.
She exited the lavender unicorn's bedroom, softly closing the door behind her. Making her way down the stairs, she saw Pinkie Pie and Spike sitting near each other on the floor of the library, both looking very sad. Spike looked up as she approached.
Is she better?
She's asleep.
Oh,
His green eyes flickered towards the floor, back to Fluttershy, and towards the floor again.
can I can I go sit with her?
Fluttershy nodded.
Of course you can, Spike.
Thanks.
He started for the stairs, but stopped and turned around.
Pinkie Pie, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to yell at you.
It's okay, Spiky. If my sister was sick, I'd be upset too.
Spike's expression was unreadable for a moment. Then he nodded and started towards the stairs, taking them one at a time with his short, stubby legs. He softly padded through the doorway and left their sight. Sighing, Fluttershy flew over to one of her cushions and plopped down onto it, lowering her head and stretching out her wings. Her muscles ached, though she had done no particular exercise that day.
Or Spike. Or Twilight.
I can guess how super worried he must be, even though he has to know our friends are going to make sure everything is okay.
Fluttershy tucked her head into her front legs. She blinked, carefully thinking about her next words.
I am beginning to think that maybe we should let Twilight's parents know what's happened to her.
But why should we make them worry? After Dash and Rarity and Applejack are back and Twilight is better, then we'll tell them. And then they'll be really mega worried. But we'll all laugh about it and talk about how it was such a close call.
Fluttershy did not respond to this. Her turquoise eyes narrowed. Pinky's cyan eyes met the other ponies and they widened.
You don't think they can do it, do you?
Fluttershy took a deep breath, let it out, said nothing. Pinky's stare turned into a glare, and Fluttershy wished she could shrink into the cushion.
I I think they'll get to the Archback Mountains and they'll find the benevolent.
Of course they will. They're our friends and they won't let us down, silly.
I just don't know if they'll do it in time.
But they have a whole other week. That's plenty of time, and they can just use Spike's fire to send it back, lickety split.
Pinkie Pie nodded, quite pleased with herself. The last word especially had captured her fancy. She rolled over onto her back and began to sing a nonsense song built around the word lickety split. Fluttershy glanced out the nearby window to the starry sky. She did not have much experience with magical illnesses like this, but illnesses in general was something she knew well, and she knew the signs of an illness worsening when she saw them. Twilight's horn rot was advancing faster. Zecora had commented on it. 2 weeks now might now be too late. There was no way to be sure. She whimpered sadly.
Oh, Applejack, Rainbow Dash, Rarity, please hurry.
Chapter 12. Rainbow Dash's eyelids fluttered open, then closed, then open again. Raising her head, she looked up through the golden grass at the growing light in the sky, the sun peeking over the horizon to the east. She yawned, rubbing the sleep from her eyes with her front hooves. This business of waking up at dawn was still strange to her. Back in Ponyville, she would still be fast asleep, the dark cloud shades drawn tight over her windows, her fluffy cloud blankets wrapped around her insulating embrace. She traced a hoof through the dirt beneath her.
Why I'm waking up early? It's this hard ground.
She had suggested yesterday that the three of them make for whatever stronghold or fastness served Gilderdale's western quarter, in the hopes of sleeping in a bed one more time, but Applejack had shot this down, insisting that they travel in the same straight line they were mostly making now.
We need to make double time going to the Archback Mountains. We spend a lot of time with the Dale ponies. And we gotta make up some ground.
The sky blue Pegasus had considered pointing out that Applejack had seemed to enjoy her time with the Dale ponies immensely, particularly her time with a certain red colt. She had decided against it, though, as she did not want to make Applejack even crankier. The orange earth pony had been strangely silent for most of their travels yesterday, and when she did speak, she had been snappy and sullen. Dash hadn't understood it all until Rarity had taken her aside and explained it in very clear terms.
Sheesh. When I yelled at her, I was just kidding.
Rising to her hooves, Dash looked around the small clear space where they had made camp. Rarity was curled up under a blanket, her head on her pillow, and her sleeping mask firmly in place. She was breathing gently, a tress of her violent mane hanging over her face. Applejack was propped up on her own saddlebags, her hat tipped over her head, her blanket covering her body, her new armor piled right next to her. Neither one looked immediately ready to wake up. This surprised Dash immensely.
I'm the first one awake?
That had never happened before. She had at least a few minutes before one of her friends would be joining her. What to do? The answer was instant and obvious.
Fly!
Flapping her wings, Rainbow Dash shot skyward, aiming for the fingertips of Rose stretched across the heavens. As the sun rolled blazing orange over the horizon, Dash twisted into a corkscrew, then angled her wings and to send her spiraling through the air, the golden fields burning as they traded places with the rosy sky over and over and over again. She loved it, the rush of speed, the chaos of complex maneuvers, the somersaults her stomach did when she twisted upside down. Everything about flying, Rainbow Dash loved. And what she loved perhaps most of all was the sensation of beating her fear. She had meant what she had said to Rarity. Her fears never left her. There was always the tiny tinge of terror before a steep dive, the racing chill of panic when she flew truly fast. But the fear would appear, and then it would be gone. She would overcome it, pass it by, then look over her shoulder and laugh at it. The young Pegasus had long thought, in the depths of her heart, that if she kept feeling fear and kept overcoming it, someday she would feel all the fear it was possible for every pony to feel. And then there would be no more fear, just endless blue sky. Now she soared straight up, wings pumping as she climbed. Speaking of overcoming fear, she rose higher and higher, glancing out as she did. All of Gildedale spread before her like a sheet of gold burning in a smelting fire. Caught in the orange light of dawn, she climbed higher and higher, passing some low-hanging clouds. She slowed, came to a hover, bent at the waist. There was the fear, right where it always was. It tempted her to slowly descend. No. She tucked in her wings and fell, plummeting freely. She did several barrel rolls, then a somersault. Pointing her nose downward again, she opened her wings and began to flap, accelerating her descent. The world blurred around her, the ground coming at her scarily fast. She grinned and wished she had her goggles. Then she could go even faster. Less than 100 feet from the ground, she flapped hard backwards and pulled up, and then angled her wings and did a flattened cartwheel through the air. She pulled moisture from the air as she spun, fanned it through her wings, caught in her tail, then stopped dead and flicked her tail with all of her might. An arc of rainbow shimmered off her striped tail, sailing through the sky some distance before it faded. Slowing to a hover, Rainbow Dash righted herself.
That was new. I'm gonna have to come up with a name for that one.
She pondered for a moment, putting a hoof to her chin.
The Bowbucker? No, that's bad.
Giving her wings a hard flap, she flew over the fields, scanning the ground for the camp. When she found it, she saw Rarity and Applejack standing about. Soaring in low, she made a short landing, tucking her wings and taking a few large strides to slow herself to a stop.
I wonder where you got to. Just stretching my wings a little. Well, you're just in time for breakfast. And I thought we had some apples. It's been a few days since I reckon we ought to eat them before they go bad.
Oh, how delightful. Anything to avoid more of that coarse grass.
Applejack reached into her saddlebags and pulled out 3 apples each.
Rainbow, we could have some carrots as well, I reckon. Huh? Oh, right.
Dash remembered her new saddlebags and the food stored inside. She went to them and rummaged through them, pulling out a stalk of 6 carrots with her teeth and setting them with the apples.
Y'all two dig in. I'm just gonna be a minute.
Sitting back on her haunches, she picked up one of her leather greaves and slid it up her front leg, then began to fasten its bindings with her teeth.
Are you really gonna wear that stuff the rest of the trip? I can't very well stuff it in my saddlebags, can I? It ain't all that uncomfortable, really.
Isn't it heavy?
Not really. It's not. It's a lot less than what I'm used to hauling around the farm. Plus, it's a nice reminder how good things worked out with Gildale.
Rarity raised an eyebrow at the last comment. Applejack paused, her one greave in place, looking absently at it.
Applejack, are you going to be alright?
Yeah, I'm gonna be fine.
She picked up another greave and slid it on one of her back legs. By the time Applejack was finished, Rarity and Rainbow Dash had eaten an apple and 2 carrots each, and both had decided to supplement their breakfast with some grass, though Rarity still grimaced at the chewy toughness of the golden blades. Applejack quickly gobbled up her own apple and carrots and joined them, munching away. Dash was, as usual, wolfing down grass. Her early morning flight had made her particularly hungry. About 10 minutes later, her belly was full, and she fluttered back to the others to help break camp. The sky blue Pegasus wiggled her saddlebags up her flanks with some annoyance. The extra weight on her haunches had thrown her off balance in the air yesterday, and it had taken her some time to adjust. Rarity rolled up her blanket with her magic and folded it gently into her saddlebags, then pulled out her linen scarf and wrapped it around her neck. Applejack had put her hat onto her head and gave her saddlebag a wiggle, trying to decide if they were fitting to her satisfaction. With a nod of her head, the orange earth pony said,
All right, y'all ready?
How fast are we going today?
As fast as we can manage for the long stretch.
Alright.
She was actually getting used to the brisk galloping by this point, but she did not enjoy it any more than at the start.
Let's giddy up.
With Applejack in the lead, the 3 of them started through the golden grass. Rainbow Dash was once more staying on the ground. The sun was behind them, throwing long dark shadows across the sunlit fields ahead of them. As they galloped, Applejack looked slightly upward, her mind dwelling intently on what rose out of the distance in front of her. They loomed dark and mighty beyond the horizon, an endless succession of sharp peaks growing clearer and more distinct with each hooffall. The archback mountains, at least they were in sight, not just dim shapes, but solid things of rock. She trained her eyes dead ahead of her, but the haze of the distance revealed only grass and sky and far-off mountainside.
Rainbow, ride up alongside, up front here, and see if you can see that forest that they're talking about.
The sky blue Pegasus nodded, quickening her pace and moving to the front. Training her vision forward, Dash's rose eyes cut through some of the haze. There was still plenty of grassland in her vision, but at the furthest reaches of her sight, much lower than the mountains, she saw a dark band.
I think I can see it. It's, I don't know, maybe a day and a half off from here? If we keep going like we're going now.
It was mid-morning right now.
Then let's pick up the pace.
Applejack turned her head. The sunlight caught the emerald on her chamfron, making it gleam with green in her fire. It was enough to delight Rarity and make her briefly forget the aggravation of having to gallop even faster.
I wonder where the Delponies got those jewels.
Without magic, gemstones were difficult to find, and Gildedale's more uniform landscape would not have lent itself to plentiful deposits as Equestria's rocker regions did. Indeed, she wondered whether the gems might not have come from Equestria. In a time of better relations between the 2 kingdoms, it almost made her want to crack a history book. Though she hadn't picked up such a thing since entering finishing school.
Perhaps Sweetie Belle has a history book I can borrow. At least I hope she does. They should certainly teach history in grade school, shouldn't they?
Rarity smiled at the thought of her sister. What was Sweetie doing right now? She wondered. In school, probably. Back from her week-long break with their parents. It meant that Fluttershy would have to look after her. This did not trouble Rarity. She trusted Fluttershy innately, having known her for many years. They saw each other more than they used to now that Twilight had brought them together more frequently, but she and the Butter Yellow Pegasus had been close. Rarity was the first pony Fluttershy had met upon moving to Ponyville. When the sun was high in the sky, the three travelers slowed to a trot, finally stopping on the top of a low-slung hill. The rolling fields were warm, and the sky overhead was deep blue, and not a cloud in it. The sight of it made Rainbow Dash's wings itch, but her stomach growled more pressingly. Her rainbow-striped mane was slick with sweat. She lowered her head and began to chomp through the grass around her.
The forest is a lot closer now. I think we're making good time. Glad to hear.
Taking off her hat, she ran a hoof through her yellow mane.
Whew. Is it just me or is it hotter today?
You're wearing a dark dyed leather, Applejack. Are you sure you don't want to take it off?
I just have to put it back on again before we get going. And it's like I said before. Where would I put it? It wouldn't fit in my saddlebags. And I doubt it would fit in yours and Rainbow's.
Rarity nodded, and privately doubted that she could even carry the extra weight. Her saddlebags were full enough as it was. Applejack's superior physical strength made her best suited for the load, and as long as she had to carry it, she might as well wear it. A howl ripped through the air, coming far off to their left.
Amangas!
Oh my, I suppose we're not rid of them yet, are we?
Not till we're out of Gildedale, I suppose. Rainbow, pop up there and see if you can spot them.
The sky blue Pegasus flew skyward in a rainbow blur, stopping in the air where she nearly vanished against the light-colored sky. She spun around, scanning the horizon in every which way. When, facing south, she leaned closer forward. She descended as rapidly as she had risen.
There's 3 of them heading right for us.
Do we have enough time to get clear?
They're kind of spread out. All we gotta do is stay away. They won't come after us if we don't mess with them.
Dash had an idea. She flapped her wings and hovered a few feet off the ground.
Hey, both of you, grab onto me.
Rarity and Applejack gave her quizzical looks. The air was split by another howl.
Come on.
Rarity gave a little hop and wrapped her hooves around Dash's torso. Applejack, with a moment's hesitation, did the same, and the 2 ponies were crowded around their friend in a strange group hug. The sky blue Pegasus flapped her wings very hard, stretching them as wide as she could and giving them slow, powerful beats. Slowly she ascended, rising foot after foot off the ground. Sweat was streaking down her body. This was more work than she had thought.
Rarity and all 3 of the Wonderbolts. I can do this.
It didn't occur to her that she had no sonic rain boom to help her this time. She had came to a stop more than 20 feet in the air. She could climb no higher. There she hovered, breathing deep and even, working her wings rhythmically. Her muscles were almost in a trance, going numb from the strain and repetition. The air shuddered beneath them. The ground shook. Another howl slashed through the air, and the huge gray Kamega pounded across the space where they had just been standing. It seemed to take forever to pass. Its head, its neck, its thick body, and finally its long, sweeping tail. Another one was visible a few dozen feet away. The 3 ponies watched them run, dipping into a shallow depression before climbing another gentle hill, then moving across a flat stretch, where they were some distance off. Dash cycled her wings backward and slowly descended. The shaking of the earth was just beginning to subside when she stepped a foot above the grass. Applejack and Rarity peeled themselves off of her, and the sky blue Pegasus immediately tucked in her wings, flopping to the ground and panting hard.
Look, Sugar Cube, you didn't have to do that. We could have just moved.
I didn't think we'd clear in time.
Rarity reached into Dash's saddlebag and pulled out a water skin, then passed it to the Pegasus. She took it up and chugged from it greedily.
Thank you very much, Dash.
Rarity stroked Dash's forehead with her hoof. Dash grinned.
No trouble. I am the Iron Pony after all, remember?
Huh. I recall that rematch going to No Pony.
She looked back to the north, where the Kamagas were just visible cresting another short hill.
Not wanting any trouble at all.
They just wanted to be left alone, and simple herding tactics could steer them away from vulnerable areas. Now Ashtail and the other Dale ponies knew, and she hoped they really would change. She could put an end to such a long history of violence. Applejack would feel very proud indeed, assuming they also saved Twilight, of course. Well, they had to wait a while longer for Dash to recuperate, and when she was finally on her hooves, she consumed an apple and half a loaf of bread, in addition to more grass and more water. About an hour passed before they were on their way again, galloping once more. Dash's wing muscles were badly in need of rest. The sun fell on their field of vision, while the archback mountains grew darker and taller in the distance. Soon the sky grew golden and burned slowly to orange. Dusk approached. Applejack looked over her shoulder and saw the moon rising, full and yellow.
Just a little farther.
Hooray!
The sun sank behind the archbacks, the sky turning red with purple behind. The fields darkened to a dull gray, silver moonlight already glinting off the grass. Applejack caught a sudden scent and slowed to a trot.
Do y'all smell that?
Rarity raised her nose and sniffed.
Is that water?
Sure smells like it.
Rainbow Dash sniffed, but smelled nothing. Her sense of smell was not as good as the Earth ponies or unicorns. Each pony type had its strengths and weaknesses in the five senses. Earth ponies excelled at smelling and hearing. Pegasi had superior vision. Unicorns were most sensitive to taste and touch.
It's about that way, I think.
Applejack pointed off to her left. She trotted, following her nose. Dash and Rarity in her wake. At length they came to a small river, winding its way from north to south. It was shallow, but seemed in no danger of drying out.
This is a great place to camp tonight. We need to refill our water supply anyway. It's running a mite low.
And we can bathe.
Rarity's body was drenched in sweat. She used her magic to open one of her saddlebags and remove something wrapped in wax paper. She unwrapped it, revealing a bar of white soap that smelled strongly of herbs. Dash raised an eyebrow.
You brought soap?
Of course, Dash. I wouldn't go on an adventure without it.
Let me fill up our water skins before you start soaping up. Go help Rainbow clear a space for us in the grass.
Grimacing, the white unicorn did as she was told, helping Dash yank up some grass, enough to form a clear space along the riverbank. Her magic made short work of the effort, and soon the grass they had removed was a flat carpet blanketing the ground, offering them some scant cushion. Applejack reappeared by then with the water skins, so Rarity took her soak and trotted merrily off, leaving the orange earth pony and the sky blue Pegasus to set up the rest of the camp.
Did we make a fire?
I don't see why not.
Applejack fished into her saddlebags for a fire starter log and its corresponding thin stick. By unspoken cue, Dash got up and began to pull more grass, aiming for thicker, tougher blades that rose around them where they lay. Dash put the grass down around the log, and Applejack set to work, boring into the shallow depression in the log's center, creating friction and sending up smoke. The grass was soon smoldering, and with a little more grass, a fire was quickly crackling away, the smoke smelling wet and earthy. Applejack laid down and began to remove her armor.
Oh,
So,
Dash laid down as well. A silence descended between them, but it was not uncomfortable. Rainbow Dash and Applejack had known each other since before Twilight Sparkle and had made each of them her friends. And they were never pressed to fill silence with chatting. Most of the time, any interaction between them took the form of a competition, usually involving Dash making a challenge to Applejack and Applejack rising to it. They were both exceptionally proud ponies, and neither one enjoyed losing. This was not always the case, however, and there were plenty of times throughout the years when Dash had come to Sweet Apple Acres just to enjoy the Orange Earth pony's company. She would say nothing, and Applejack respected her desire for tranquility, and would say nothing in return. Sometimes she would read a book, and other times she would go do small chores around the farm. But Dash would stick beside her, and Applejack had grown to enjoy the Sky Blue Pegasus's quiet presence. Overhead, the stars were slowly appearing. Applejack wriggled out of her petrol and set it with the other pieces of her armor.
how long do you think it'll take to reach the Shimmerwood?
from what you were saying, I reckon another day. Maybe a day and a half. It depends on how fast we can get Rarity to go.
Silence fell again between them for another few minutes.
What do you think is there? Hammerhoof mentioned magic and said Rarity would like it there.
I don't really know.
She took off her hat and undid the straps on her leather chamfron. Sliding it off, she shook her head to loosen her hair where the headpiece had forced it down. Applejack's own mind went to unicorns. Could it be a community of them living on their own together, just as Gildale was a kingdom of purely earth ponies? Dash had similar thoughts.
Could it be unicorns?
Could be.
Maybe they live on their own. It seems, and it makes them weird, like Gildale.
I wouldn't call Gildale weird, just different. And I bet a bunch of unicorns living in the forest would be different as well. You know, thinking about it, it seems like a bunch of ponies of a single type living together apart from each other, pony types, makes a big difference.
The sky blue Pegasus put her head down and on her hoofs.
In Cloudsdale, every pony has to leave once they reach a certain age. Once you hit another age, you can come back and live there. But no pony is allowed to spend their entire life there. Maybe it's so Pegasus don't turn different.
Applejack said nothing to this. The silence endured a while longer.
Thanks again for flying us clear of those Camogas.
Ah, don't mention it.
A flicker of concern passed over her face. It vanished rapidly, but Applejack had known Rainbow Dash too long to dismiss it.
Something wrong?
Nope.
Yes, there is. Rainbow, what is it?
Dash turned her head.
Rainbow, tell me.
It's no big deal. It's just that those Kamungas, I was remembering when we fought them is all. With all the Dale ponies.
You did what you had to do, Rainbow.
But that's not true, is it? You proved the Kamegas weren't dangerous. I never had to hurt any of them. I never wanted to hurt any of them.
But we didn't know it then. Rainbow, you were the only one doing what you thought you had to do.
Dash's brow furrowed.
You're right. But I hate it. I feel awful. I don't feel as awful as I did before, but I still feel awful.
Well, that's good, ain't it? It's like Shield Maiden said. We're not supposed to be fond of killing. The fact that you didn't like it is good.
I guess.
It still nagged at her. She had killed, and she knew it. It made her feel childish to be ashamed, no matter what Applejack or Shield Maiden said. She should move on. She would make herself move on. Verity appeared at that point, smelling of herbs, with a spring in her step, her mane and tail slightly damp, sitting between Applejack and Rainbow Dash around the fire. She took out her brush from her saddlebag and began to run it through her violet mane.
I do wish I had brought some shampoo, but I simply didn't have the room.
What did you pack in there anyway?
2 sweaters, 1 coat, 2 scarves, 1 for cold weather, 1 for warm, 1 set of galoshes, 1 pair of sunglasses, 1 smart casual saddle, 1 semi-formal saddle, casual saddle, 1 semi-formal saddle that can double as a cocktail wear if need be, 2 bars of soap, 1 bottle of eye drops, 1 sleeping mask, 1 pillow, 1 blanket, 4 energy bars, and a month's supply of, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that word, and dietary
Multivitamins.
supplements.
Multivitamins.
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 She smiled brightly at them. Applejack and Rainbow Dash exchanged glances.
You think that's all?
Yes, I believe so. Just the essentials, of course. There's only so much you can fare in a pair of saddlebags.
Sure. Sure.
Well, my saddlebag still has some apples, and y'all are free to have some. Rainbow, see how much bread you got in yours.
Dash nosed through her leather saddlebags.
I've got 2 more loaves, plus one of the loaves I didn't eat today.
We could split the half a loaf between us if you don't mind.
Applejack plucked 3 apples out of her bag. She passed 2 of them to Dash and Rarity, while Dash tore a chunk off the half loaf of bread and passed it around in turn.
Rainbow, I'm gonna need you to fly up and look around through the night sky tonight, okay? I don't want any Kumonga surprising us while we're sleeping.
Dash bit into her apple and chewed loudly.
If I can wake up, sure. I'll wake you if need be.
Dash grimaced at the thought, not looking forward to have her sleep disrupted. She ate her bread in glum silence the rest of the evening, as Rarity and Applejack made small talk. The moon rose higher in the sky, bathing the fields in brilliant silver light. At length, dinner was finished.
Rainbow, go up real quick and check for Kumongas.
Do I have to?
Please.
You're lucky I'm so nice.
She flapped her wings and rose slowly into the air. She stopped about 100 feet off the ground, spinning slowly in a circle and looking out across the fields. The river glistened in the moonlight, and the grass was shimmering gray. There were no disturbances for miles in any direction. Dash slowly descended.
Nothing.
Well, in that case, I'm going to bed.
Applejack pulled her blanket from one of her saddlebags. She bunched the bags up to form a pillow and laid her head down on them.
Rainbow, I'll try to wake you up a little later tonight so you can check again.
Pulling the blanket over her body, she tipped her hat over her head. Dash curled up into a ball.
Yeah.
Good night, Everpony. See you all in the morning.
Verity settled her head back on the pillow and pulled her sleeping mask over her eyes.
Good night, y'all.
Good night.
A part of Dash missed the closeness of the last few days. They all had slept in the same bed, and she had used her wings to pull her friends to her side. But she was tired, and soon she was asleep. Her dreams were swirls of color, a circle of rainbows dancing through the darkness. Thunder rumbled, lightning flashed.
Rainbow, wake up!
Rainbow Dash blinked her eyes open, almost hearing them creak.
What time is it?
The air was silver with moonlight. The fire had long since burned out. Applejack stood over her.
I don't know. I guess it's time for you to check for the Kamungas again.
Do I have to?
Yes, I won't have a posse of them trampling us in the night. Just go up real quick and take a look around.
All right.
The sky blue Pegasus rose to her hooves and stretched. She could feel a slight chill in the air, but it didn't bother her, of course.
I'm going back to sleep. If you see anything, be sure to wake me.
Applejack trotted back over to her spot and pulled back her blanket.
You're not even gonna wait up?
I figured it ain't vital.
She rested her head on her saddlebags and lowered her head over her eyes. Within a moment, she was snoring gently.
I figured it ain't vital. Who does she think she is? Just because I have wings, it automatically makes me some kind of errand pony?
She scowled, but she had just been getting some really good sleep, too. She could feel it. But since she was awake, she might as well play lookout. Flapping her wings, Rainbow Dash took off, aiming straight up. It was more work to fight gravity in a vertical climb, but she was annoyed, and took out the frustration on her body. The sudden pumping of blood through her muscles brought her more fully awake. Stopping high above the campsite, she slowly circled around, her keen eyes sweeping the moonlit fields. They were as gray and empty as they had been earlier in the night. No movement disturbed in the tall grass, save for the ripples caused by the wind. So she had been woken up for nothing. It figures, she thought. I'm so nice. The others are so lucky she was so nice. She cycled her wings back and began to descend. Then came the flash. She caught it and saw in the blink of an eye, just as she had seen it 4 nights ago. A wrinkled line of blinding light burned into the plains in the distance. It seemed to come from the Archback Mountains, but instantly it was across her line of vision. Then it stopped. The line of light extinguished itself. There was a faint pulse of white light, then nothing. But moonlight prevailed. Rainbow Dash marked the spot of where the pulse of light had been in her mind, and she flew. She pumped her wings fast as they would flap, tucking in her back legs and pointing with one hoof right at the spot where she had seen the light. Her eyes narrowed as she accelerated, the stars burning into the night sky as she flew faster and faster, the wind whipping through her ears. When she drew close, she began to descend, angled shallow towards the ground, gradually lower and lower until her hooves brushed the top of the tall grass. She was almost there, so she bent sharply down, now flying right through the grass, tall blades parting around her, some of it flying into the air in her wake. Then she was there, and she tucked her wings, springing out all 4 legs to start a rapid gallop, not losing their pace, tearing through the grass. She burst suddenly into a clear space with shorter grass carpeting the ground.
Ah!
A strange shape leapt into the air, then landed and looked about a dozen steps backwards in a jumbled gait. For a moment, Dash couldn't make it out, the darkness obscuring it. Her eyes then adjusted to the moonlight, and she saw it.
Would you mind not doing that? You nearly gave me a heart attack, you did. My nerves are a jumble as it is, and last I need is for some creature to play Pop-a-Boo on me on the dead of night.
Dash's eyes widened, more moonlight flooding them and allowing her to see more of the thing that had spoken. It wasn't a pony at all. It stood about a head taller than she. Its body was lithe and chest-heavy, supported by 4 long legs and long, slender muscles, 4 hooves planting it to the ground. It had a short, thick neck on which a long, narrow head rested, ending in a narrow snout. At the other end, it had a short, fluffy tail. 2 narrow ears were set far back on its head, raised up and now swiveling toward her. Its slightly beady eyes were round and dark. Even in the moonlight, she could tell its fur was light brown, but had a white belly. and a white patch on its chest. A black band of fur ringed around its neck under its chin. On its head were two black horns that stood up, but at their summits they split, twin tines forking towards the front while the main points rose up and curved slightly inward. The creature took a few steps forward.
Say, you're a Pegasus pony, aren't you?
The dark eyes widened.
Not every day I see your type in Gilderdale.
Dash's mouth was hanging open. She forced herself to speak.
Who? Who are you? What are you?
The creature raised its furry white eyebrows.
Me? Oh, well, I'm a pronghorn.
It lowered towards the ground in a bow.
Niles Nigellus, at your service.
He rose to his hooves again and tilted his head.
And what is your name, dear miss?
I'm Rainbow Dash. I've never seen anything like you before. Are you an antelope?
She had never seen an antelope either. Well, not in the flesh. She had seen pictures of them in one of Twilight Sparkle's books.
Nope, but I do look like one, don't I? Funny how that works out. Anyway, you gave me quite a fright. What are you doing out here?
I was looking for the Kumangas.
You'll hear a Kamega before you see one. No point looking for him.
Niles stepped forward. He was smiling gently now. He didn't look scary, just strange.
Well, my friends are sleeping nearby. They wanted to make sure no Kumangas trampled through the night.
Not a bad idea, I suppose. So, are you traveling?
Yes, wait, hold on. I want answers to my questions.
Now that she wasn't startled, curiosity consumed her.
What are you doing here? How did you get here?
Oh, I bolted here. Were you flying? You might have seen me if you flew. As for what, I just got done with the run, and I thought I'd stop out here for a bite to eat. Also, must confess, I needed to settle my nerves a bit. Traveling across the Broken Lands is not a fun time. Brrr, place gives me the willies. No matter how fast the trip is. Which is why I most certainly did not appreciate your little scare.
Oh, sorry. What do you mean by run? Were you running a race?
A race? No, well, not as such. A message run. There was a dispatch that had to go out tonight, and I was the one on call. Just a short hop, but the lady was insistent, and she always asks you so nicely that you feel that refusing is to murder her dog.
Message? You were delivering a message?
Well, of course. For the network, you know.
He smiled at her. Rainbow Dash stared at him.
You know, the network.
She continued to stare. He appeared crestfallen.
You haven't the faintest idea what I'm talking about, have you? Right then. Are you in any great hurry?
Dash thought for a moment. If there were no Kamegas around, her friends didn't immediately need her, and they were asleep.
No.
Well, sit down, if you will.
Niles settled back on his thin haunches. Dash sat down as well, and noticed that for the first time he was wearing a set of saddlebags on his flanks, painted with blue swirls.
This really won't take long. Are you comfortable?
Yeah.
Right.
He set his front hooves down on the ground in front of him. His dark eyes caught in the moonlight and glistened. He took another deep breath.
Beginning. Right. War is a terrible thing, isn't it?
I wouldn't know. I've never been in a war.
Well, pray that doesn't change. Some time ago, but not too long ago, two lands very far away from here had a war. It was a terrible thing. Terrible. With armies and machines and ugly magic. Many creatures on both sides were killed.
You look to the side.
Many of my kind were living in one of the lands. Many of them were killed as well.
Sorry.
Eventually, the war was ended and a peace treaty was signed. But the worst of all came after that. It was discovered that the war had been fought for completely unnecessary reasons. It could have been avoided if both sides had talked to each other properly. After we had buried and mourned our dead, we pronghorns got together and decided that, as much as it is our power to do so, we would try to stop war from ever happening again. Not just between these two lands, but between any lands, any nation, any species all around the world. Now, what is one of the primary causes of war?
Dash thought for a moment.
Greed?
No, actually, that's not bad. But try again. Think of another one.
Um, uh,
Miscommunication. When one or more parties doesn't have a clear idea of what the other party wants, or what their true goals are, conflict is practically inevitable. If every creature knows what its fellows are thinking, fighting is much less likely. After coming to this conclusion, we bend all our efforts on solving the problem of global miscommunication, and it was with that goal in mind that we formed the Pronghorn Network.
so this is a thing that all pronghorns do?
Nearly all of them, yes. We pronghorns have scattered across the world, and we have offered ourselves freely as a global messenger service to every race and species that will have us. Every kingdom, every republic, every empire, every city-state, every tribe and wandering herd can, at any time, contact us, and we shall deliver any message they may have to any recipient they wish. They can either write it down or they can cast it as a magic spell, and we shall take it to its destination.
Even if it's really far away? Even if it's halfway around the world?
Yes. What's more, we offer one of the key factors in avoiding miscommunication: speed. Not only can we deliver any message from any sender to any recipient at any destination, we guarantee delivery within 1 day.
No matter where it is, you can deliver a message in 1 day on the other side of the world.
Oh, absolutely. I swear to thee my solemn decree, as the zebras might put it.
Do you hand them off? Is it like a relay?
No, that would risk the message getting lost. One pronghorn carries the message from sender to recipient.
So then,
Dash's eyes widened.
you can go from here to the other side of the world in 1 day.
Niles winked at her.
My dear Pegasus, I can circle the world in a day.
Dash's mouth fell open. That wasn't possible.
Not possible. There's no way. No creature's that fast. Even dragons aren't that fast. I'm not that fast. Not even close.
Well, if you're simply talking about muscle power, then of course you're right. Though we pronghorns are no slouch in that department. We are the fastest runners in all the worldwide. But you're right, no creature by wing or leg is that fast. Besides, running won't get you across the oceans. So for our messengers' runs, we travel with the aid of our magic.
You can do magic?
Of course, we have horns, don't we?
Dash never thought of that. Could any creature with a horn do magic? You'd have to ask Twilight.
So, how do you use your magic to travel around the world?
Niles smiles again.
We ride lightning.
Rainbow Dash's eyes bulged so large they threatened to pop out of her skull.
Say that again.
We create and ride lightning bolts. See, back in our homeland, we sometimes dabbled in weather control, storms and stuff. It's our magical specialty, actually. So when we were laying out the plan for the Pronghorn network and realizing how fast we would need to travel, we were able to come up with a lightning bolt that feeds off our magic and the magic of our surrounding worlds. We generate it, we grab hold of it, and we ride it. It's very fast. Fast enough, as I've intimated, to take us around the world in a single day.
You.
Dash's mind felt like it was in a tunnel. A chill raced up her spine.
You make lightning.
Well, yes. It's not all that different from what you Pegasi do, really, at least in Equestria. You lot make the weather in Equestria, right? It's similar magic from what I've seen.
You make lightning bolts.
Dash was staring bulge-eyed at him.
Yes. As I've said twice now. No, 3 times now. Well, 4, counting that last.
Me.
Dash leaped at him. She knocked him back on the ground and grabbed him around the withers, shaking him back and forth with all her might.
Me.
Hold on.
His long leg shot out and pushed him away from the sky blue Pegasus.
Hold on now. What's all this?
You know how to make lightning? You know how to control lightning? Teach me. Oh, please, please, please.
Hold on. I can't just teach you to make lightning out of the blue. I don't even know if you're capable of learning it.
You just said Pegasus do similar.
Pegasi. And I said similar, not identical. We're still 2 different species and we work different ways. My magic is channeled through my horns. Yours is inherent. It comes out of every pore. I don't know if you'd be able to master the nuances of the magic. And even if you could learn, I'm not sure you will.
But if I can learn, what would stop me? All I can think of is you refusing to teach me.
Niles shook his head.
My dear Rainbow Dash, if you're physically capable of it, and you may well be, the lightning out here is the easiest part. What's tricky is the lightning in here.
He tapped his hoof against the side of his head. Dash was getting annoyed. This was destiny. She could feel it. Feel the rush of purpose and fate through her veins like fresh blood. She who had been so long unable to control lightning would learn to master it more fully than any Pegasi before her. She was going to fulfill her promise, and this pronghorn was going to deny her.
Maybe you're just lying to me. Maybe you really can't.
Niles narrowed his dark eyes. There was a crackle. A line of blinding white lightning snarled between his horns, rising from the bases of the prong tips, where it split apart in his shining veins before vanishing into darkness. The brilliance of it burned behind Dash's eyelids, and she blinked.
I am a messenger of the Pronghorn network. I never lie.
Dash stepped hesitantly forward.
Then teach me, please. At least let me try. All my life, I've never been able to control lightning. It's always been too much for me. It's always been out of my reach. I need to learn. It's something I have to do.
She drew herself up to her full height.
I can beat my fear.
Niles set his thin mouth in a wavering line. He looked off to the side.
Not here, at least. It's not something I can just explain to you over dinner. I would need to take you into the dreaming.
What's that?
As I said, it's what's in here.
He tapped his head again. He looked gently at her, tilting his head from one side to the other, for a few minutes in silence. Dash's heart was in her throat.
But maybe...
He continued to look, and Dash's spine tingled. He was looking at something she could not see.
Perhaps you certainly have the belly for it.
Please, I'll do whatever you tell me. But it's not a coincidence. I can feel it. I'm here. And you're here because that's what we're supposed to do. It has to be.
Niles looked hard at her again.
You said you were traveling. Which way are you going?
West. We're going to the Archback Mountains. Our friend is sick, and we need to get a flower there called...
The Beneviolet? And your friends, the ones with you, are they Pegasi as well?
No, one's an earth pony and one's a unicorn.
And you have to keep pace with them, which means you can't go faster than a gallop.
He began to pace back and forth.
That might work out.
He turned his head back towards Rainbow Dash.
A day's ride west at the average pony's pace will put you very close to one of our way stations. I'm going there after this. A few more of my kind will be there as well. I'll talk to them.
His face was serious now.
When you and your friends stop for the night, as the sun is setting, hover up off the ground where you're easily visible, where I can see you. I'll come to you and, well, I'll take you what we've decided.
Thank you. That's all I ask. Please say yes.
It won't just be up to me, since what you're asking is not a one-pronged job. But tomorrow night at dusk, you'll have your answer.
He looked up into the sky, at the moon which had moved slowly through the starfields.
If you're traveling tomorrow, you should get some sleep.
Right. And you'll come find me tomorrow, right?
If you make yourself findable, remember, high enough off the ground to where I can see you.
Got it.
Niles smiled at her.
Yes, maybe you can do it. It would be a grand experiment, if nothing else.
He stuck out a front hoof.
I'd best be going. My fellows are going to want to hear this, probably a few times over. Until tomorrow, Rainbow Dash.
Dash put her hoof against his, and they shook.
Sure thing. See you tomorrow.
Niles Nigilus nodded, and suddenly he moved. The wind whipped around him, and he smeared into a brown blur that parted the grass to Rainbow Dash's right. Flapping her wings, she shot up off the ground and watched him go, a dot leaving a trail across the rolling plains. He really was extremely fast. When he finally ran out of her sight, she shuddered all over, her body racked by shaking. She turned around and flew, headed roughly back in the direction she had come. The moon had moved across the sky, and when she had blasted towards Niles, it had been right in front of her. Now it was on the other side of the sky, and she flew towards it, scanning the ground. She saw the silver gleam of the river, followed its progress south. Finally, her sharp eyes spotted the clear spot on the riverbank. The bright pink of Rarity's blanket stood out like a signal flag. Her dash descended in slow spirals, landing gently in the clearing and trotting a few steps before coming to a stop. She dropped to the ground and curled up, but her body was shaking again, every nerve alive with fire. She tried to close her eyes, but they sprang open again an instant later. Her heart was racing. She lay like that for nearly an hour. Sleep finally stole over her. In her dreams, the lightning lit the world, striking her over and over, setting her body aflame.
And we're done.
Hooray!
Yep, goodbye everybody. See you next week.
Yep.
Okay, thanks, bye.
Bye. Not quite, but yes. Ugh.
That was actually pretty cool. I like the pronghorn.
Yep.
They make
Those are
really
great.
good service bodies.
Oh,
You know, due to the
I get the joke.
Ha. Ha.
I missed it. But little side note, because of the overall length of each of the chapters, the next 4-ish readings will be only just one chapter.
Ooh, some people do
They
like them
average
long.
around 8 to 12,000 words each. So yeah, I can't put them two together. It'd be way longer.
That's all right.
That's okay. We all know that some people like them long.
Anyways,
Well,
yeah.
what
And
good
for
is it if
$5.
there's no root to it?
Anyways, so yes, 'twas very good tonight. That lullaby came out very good. Good job, Ocean.
But that was
Yes.
really
Thank you.
And Sora did a very good job talking to herself.
good. Mm,
That is
such
so
intelligent
hard to do.
conversation.
You do a mean ass rainbow dash, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Mhm.
Like that's amazing.
We should consider having Applejack be played by someone else for the next chapters, at least, because I think
Is it a
because
lot?
it's just going to start this whole thing with Rainbow Dash learning the whole lightning thing is going to make her talk a lot.
Will Applejack not be talking quite as much? Because if that's the case, I can switch. I can switch back to it because my narrating versus my drawl is different enough.
I'll let you see the reading for yourself when I have it done.
Okay.
So you can. Point.
I mean, I was thinking this chapter I probably could have fairly reasonably, but
yeah.
So, alrighty. Well, yes. So that was fun. I see we have a Skyrays finally joined in the chat here. He probably has something interesting planned for the after party.
Ooh, yes, I do. And for anybody listening that has Arma 3 and most of the DLCs, contact me. Or message us in the WW chat. Actually, no, just message us in the gaming lounge if you're in the Discord. And we'll get something going because I'm looking to get a lot of people in for a Warlords match.
All right, I've got somebody for you to ping. But yeah.
Who else do I need to ping?
Did you get yeah. I'll send it later.
Okay.
But yeah. So also between times I'm trying to figure out a good way to get this without just showing the chat. Here, I'll just do it the slow way. So in between the narrations, Sora was actually drawing little art blurbs here, and I figured I'd share them all with the stream because they're very wonderful. So first off, we had a
What is the
spike.
material being used?
What is it being? It's just like a little boogie board. Like it's like one of those like erasable things. I just as
Is
like
that-
the scene was playing out, I just kept like sketching faces. I'm sorry.
Oh.
I promise I was
Those
paying
paint
attention though.
pen- with those paint pen things.
So we had
Yeah.
a spike, a rarity. Here's a wizard lichen.
I'm a wizard, Ari.
I was about to put the Harry after that, but I was like, I shouldn't.
And then we have a wonderful Pinky.
I'm not trying to hurt her.
And then we have Fluttershy being pissed. And then we have what I'm assuming is Ocean singing.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then last but not least, we finally get to see Razzle's true form.
Haha.
What?
It's the rarity, complete with soap, semi-casual saddles, and multivitamins.
Yeah.
They're awfully quiet.
The multivitamin.
Yes, and multivitamins. Don't forget those.
I don't know why that multivitamin line just kept like I am not going to pronounce that.
Yeah, that's just multi and vitamins.
I mean,
I
when you're
really wanted to see how you would have pronounced it.
When you're sitting there looking at paragraphs and paragraphs of words, when you see one, especially when you're trying to like read everything, it's just like sometimes you can blank.
Yeah, when you glance at a 5-syllable word, it's like, no.
Especially when Rarity
Also,
does a lot
see,
of French.
I wasn't the only one to say Ben a Violet, so haha, I'm not alone tonight.
Don't worry, I've done it too.
That's such
Yeah,
a
with
benevolent
how the
thing to say,
emotion
though.
that I had to put in there, I don't think I got the violet part of it. I think I might have slurred into violent a little.
It's such a
Violent.
benevolent thing to
Violent.
say, though. You got to admit.
Beneficial violence.
Ooh.
Yeah, I didn't know what a pronghorn was. I had to
fair?
go look it up because I was like,
Ooh, I
what
can't
the
wait to
heck?
get
What is
slapped
that
for
pronghorn?
I
this.
generally think when pronghorn, I think deer.
Hmm.
If
gonna
just
make a
because
doodle
of
of that
Harry Potter
pronghorn.
prongs.
I think antelope because yeah, that's the secondary term around here for antelope.
My phone's going off.
Picture here in the reading active chat here.
I'm gonna save that, and I'm gonna try to make a wizard version of them just to see if it'll look cool.
Make sure lightning between its antlers, because that's the whole thing. It's riding lightning.
Wait, what's in this? What's between the antlers?
Lightning.
Because, you know, he
Lightning,
rides
okay.
lightning.
You should totally do it like the little Jacob's ladder effect. You know, when it has the little bolt of the little arc going from the bottom of the two wires that are vertical, and
You
then it goes up and
serious-
spreads.
Seriously, reference a Jacob ladder in this.
I think that was kind of what he was going for when he demonstrated the lightning tour.
I mean, you could always
What
just
I
draw
was
a middle
imagining
finger
was
in the lightning.
less of a I guess a Jacob's ladder. I was imagining like green light, Jacob's ladder style, but a lot more violent.
Someone is gonna have to send me a reference of that because I'm thinking of something totally different.
It's basically two metal prongs that split off a little bit with lightning that goes between them. It goes up in a horizontal line.
Oh, there's a clean meaning to that? Oh.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, I don't really know.
I don't want to know what the dirty line is then.
We'll not get into that on this
There's
show.
a dirty line for what?
We will not get
I
into
missed
that
something
on this
here.
show.
Apparently,
sorry,
there's a
but
dirty
when I-
meaning to Jacob's ladder.
I'm sorry, but when I think of Jacob's ladder, I think of this toy that's sitting right in front of me, which is just some wood sticks or some wood planks that are connected with some
Isn't Jacob's Ladder a movie from like back in the 90s?
ribbons.
But anyways, yes. I just sent a video into the chat of what a Jacob's ladder is. The science type. So yes.
Oh,
I hope
when I
that
found out what that is, I was shocked.
Shut up. Shut up, like it.
So was Electro Boom.
I'm sorry. I had to listen to my boyfriend put out electrified puns last weekend. So no, please no.
Oh, you'll have to
They were
tell me what they are
shocking.
so I can stay.
Fuck.
You'll have to tell me some of them so that way I can stay current.
Oh, that one's bad.
No, you have to listen
Like,
to these now.
okay.
Resistance is futile.
Like you gotta go message my boyfriend and you have to tell him all of these because he needs to update his phrases for his demonstrations. So I would really like if you could pass these to him.
Yeah, I feel like I should stop, otherwise there might be a
Please.
revolt in the chat.
Anyways, yes. So, yes, it is now time. So Skyrace can get his thing all prepared. I do have a longer song planned for our outro. So, yes, I hope that you all enjoy that while we get ready for that. I hope you enjoyed the reading tonight. Next week we will hopefully be back to our regular Divinity shenanigans. Hopefully there is not another zombie attack. That would be bad. So yes. Without further ado, everyone say shoutouts. So we'll start with Lycan.
Yeah, shout outs to those shocking puns earlier, but I'm glad that there is a part made specifically for me for, what is it, Niles Nigellus? Or
Yep.
Or did you say Nigellus?
Niles Nigellus.
There you go.
Like
So,
flangellum.
Just
Like
that's gonna
Nigel,
be
think
but
fun.
like
Nigel.
Nigellus.
Yeah, that's gonna be a
Nigel
fun,
Thornberry?
fun role for me, I can tell.
Yes, Nigel Thornberry.
Yay!
It's smashing.
Alrighty. And next up, shout out to Sora.
Shout out to Tivana's peach tea. If you add honey and lemon, it's the perfect throat soother for when you're doing Rainbow Dash.
Alrighty. Next up, shout outs for Ocean.
Shout out to my pizza delivery person for delivering my pizza like 5 minutes before this all started. Because now I'm full and not hungry.
Alrighty. And shout outs for Razzle.
I'm going to form a resistance to revolt against these shockingly bad puns.
Good luck with that.
Oh my god, that was
I'll
bad.
provide the shotgun. Alrighty.
Uh.
Are you going on? No. Okay. Alrighty. And shout outs for Double R.
Shout outs to the video game Control for introducing me to Finnish tango music. It's actually good.
And shout outs for CMC.
Fires, explosions, or false venison jerky, LOE Ron, I don't know. It's been a crazy thing, and I had to do some very pained reading. It was good reading, all around.
Well, Twilight's
Beautiful
in
singing.
pain and suffering right now.
Yes. My throat hurts for doing it.
Be her, you must suffer with her.
Yes.
Do they have like training morphine?
Does that mean he has to die if she dies?
Yes.
Who, Spike?
I am prepared!
I assume there was a gun cocking there that we
yes,
didn't hear
due
on
to the
Discord.
fact of Discord's stupid noise suppression.
You can
Turn it
disable it
off.
now. You
Yeah,
can
I-
disable it now, yeah.
I know,
turned all
but I
that
have
off.
to do it manually because otherwise, like, I do think it's good for most things. However, yeah. Because the issue is if I disable it completely, then I have issues with you guys hearing yourselves from time to time. It's very rare, but it does happen.
I mean, I just have push to talk on.
I hate
You
push
sure
to
there's not a
talk.
dirty thing behind that too?
But anyways, thank you all for showing up. It's been fun. I know I had fun, and everybody else here has as well. So, please stick around for Skyraise's fun little after party. And yes, everybody say goodbye.
Sayonara.
Night
Everybody,
night.
good.
goodbye.
There's something about your eyes that fills me with butterflies. I'm leaving my thoughts behind, 'cause girl, you're always on my mind. You've been sent from above to pick me up from below. How did I find a love as great as the one you show? Cause you're
Thank you all for showing up. It's been fun. This is Winchester 572 going 10-7.